I am crashing. Hey guys, welcome to the Finn's Faithful Podcast on another episode here. Thanks for joining us on this Monday night. You know, we're always live on YouTube. Please hit that little bell. You know, I hate asking, but you know, Bobby, you know, we got to ask that little, it's important. Help support the channel. It just takes a second. Also hit that like button. We got a fun show today. Obviously, you see my man Bobby Shouse from the Dive Bar Podcast. They've been killing it. He's on. We're going to kind of take a look at the Dolphins roster. We're about a month out from the draft, I think exactly. I think it's the 24th of April. We're going to take a look at the roster where it stands now and leading up to the draft. How concerned are we? And then we're going to bust out the first ever Dolphins Concernometer. Me and Bobby are going to have this fun little exercise where we're going to go through each position and rate how concerned are we from low to very high. And I think there's probably going to be a lot of highs on there, if I would guess. But without further ado, Bobby, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on.
I'm doing good, man. I'm actually trying to enjoy my last few hours before I go offshore in the morning. I leave. I got to be in Houma, which is like a 2-hour drive by 5 a.m. So just hanging with the family. Me and the old lady went and had lunch. I got unlimited sushi. Then picked the kids up, took them for ice cream. So, hey, going pretty good today.
Yeah, you're doing your thing. I respect that. Let's speaking of doing your thing, let's start with the dive bar. I mean, we can't talk about anything else if we talk about what you guys been doing the last month or so. Teron Armstead, then Xavier Howard. You guys got Cater Kohu tomorrow. I know you got some more stuff coming. How's this been, man? This whirlwind the last few weeks with the dive bar.
Dude, I swear people think I'm full of it when I say this, but it surprises me every time. So like I know it seems so like normal and like this is just what we do now, but like I promise you it's not. Like a lot of it's last minute. We're just pulling it together, and it's like the people want to come on. So like it helps when you reach out to people and they respond and they make time for you. So I gotta thank the guests, but dude, it's been incredible. The last few, especially like you were saying. Oh man, who could have asked for a better start to season 2 of the Dive Bar? We got other ones in the works. We have some mutual agreements and some stuff like that. Haven't got dates on some. I think we already have our guest for next week, so that's pretty cool. Going to be our first college guest.
Oh,
so that's pretty cool. So yeah, man, things are going good, man. The support's been crazy. I think that's one of the coolest things about it is like, it's fun doing it, but when the support is reciprocated, it feels great, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, you guys are doing great, and that Xavier Howard interview was fun, man. When you get when you book some guests, right? They can be the biggest stars, but there's no chemistry on the interview. They don't really say much. X was like an open book. I was surprised the Flores stuff. That was his favorite style. What surprised you with X? Or did you expect that kind of interview, or anything should stand out?
I think honestly, just how cool he was. So like. Not that X is a star. He's been the star of Miami for the last decade. And you just when you see him over the years, the media and stuff, he's very short-winded. He's not really saying much. He's not really letting you in. I had seen him on another podcast though with other players before, and he was a whole different animal. And I was like, guys, I think we're gonna get more than y'all expect out of him because I think he's gonna be comfortable. And man, dude, from the gate, he was just like. He didn't care what we talked about. He was super honest, super open. It was awesome. It really was, man. And I'm gonna get giddy here for a second, but like as a fan who's 33, like Xavier Howard is the biggest piece of my prime as a Dolphins fan. So that was freaking incredible. I was just sitting there bullshitting, talking shit to him. Like he was down for whatever. It was incredible.
Yeah, you forget about that, right? Like as you're doing it, because you're hyped up for the interview, and then when you're done, you're like. Well, sometimes it's just like he's one of the guys, right? And then when you're done, you think about it. Yo, this is a dude I'm growing up watching. Like he's that dude,
And Xavier is like a top dog. So like he honestly should have been Defensive Player of the Year 2020. So like or 2019. So like dude, legend and a Dolphin. Like it gets no better than that. That was incredible.
Yeah, hopefully. I know he said he's been keeping in shape. He missed last year with the foot injury, right? He was still recovering, and now he kind of keep himself in shape. He looked like he was in good shape. What do you think? Something in training camp, maybe one of these playoff teams, not the Dolphins though, right? I don't think. Is that? I know everybody wants that. Is that door completely closed? Do you think, Bobby?
I don't think the door is closed.
A little open. Just.
I think that the door is the door is open, but the screen door is closed.
Okay.
So like the dog's barking, but he can't get out. You know.
Yeah. And we got to find a way to bust through that screen because we ain't got nothing in that corner. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think he's at that point of his career where if he's going to get picked up, it's probably training camp time. He's earned his whatever. He's not going to come give you OTAs or anything like that anymore. So yeah, I think you're probably waiting until training camp with him. I think he talked to I know Cowboys and someone else last year, and one of them wanted him to sign a no waiver on his foot, and that's why he didn't sign anywhere. That's why he was like, I'm not playing with like all the risk and no reward. Like, that's crazy. And I'm already taking a pay cut to come here. Yeah. So that's why he didn't play last year. I think he'll find a home. He should. I mean, Xavier Howard, even with losing a step, he's still better than most. I mean, look at, like you said with us, we don't even have a second cornerback.
Yeah. And the thing with him is some team in August, he doesn't need to go to training camp. Some team in August, I know Dallas has been on him for a while, man. I remember when there was trade talks, it was those rumors of Dallas. I know they've been on him for a while, and everybody thinks his hometown, the Texans, he'll pick up somewhere. I hope, honestly, I mean, we could use him. So I still don't think. I don't think so. I mean, my gut says probably very small chance, but like, I'd love to have him back, brother.
I'll give you, since you're my boy George. I'll give you a little. I'll give you a little exclusive. I'll give you a little exclusive.
Where's the buzzer?
We talked a little bit before the show, and he was a little more. So during the show, he gave like a middle ground answer, as he should. But before the show, he kind of let us know that the things in Miami aren't exactly what he's looking for.
Yeah.
So whatever that reason is,
he'll bounce back though. I'm looking forward to seeing him play again. He looked good, man. He looked good. That was cool. I'll tell you, the Armstead one. You weren't there for that one, right?
No.
That's the one. That's the one where they were complaining when Armstead and Jones. I was watching that. I was like, oh, Bobby's probably losing his. You know what?
Oh my God. What's crazy is they thought I was like. Appreciate that, buddy. They thought I was like losing my mind offshore, like, because I run all the shows. Like, I'm like, I make everything. I make sure everything's lined up perfectly. I'm like operating.
Yeah.
Eric produces, and he does a lot of like orchestrating the questions and making sure we stay on flow and organized. And like, it'll have like, he'll prompt everybody what they're supposed to do next. But I always keep my eye on how things are going on the screen. So like, they know how I am about everything, and I'm OCD. So like, I'm only OCD about podcasting. Everything else, I really don't give a shit. But I just want to make sure it's a good show, and everything goes smoothly as it can for three knuckleheads. You know what I mean?
Yeah, trust me, I know. I do all that stuff, and that's why I respect so much when I see the guests you book and the operation that it takes. People don't realize there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and you're one of the main guys who handles all that stuff, and so I respect that. The thing with the Armstead, he made me feel. I mean, we'll get into the Dolphins concern-o-meter of the tackle position, but he made me feel good about Paul. Like everybody knows I hated that pick when the draft happened. But the thing about Paul, and I said this before, like the stuff that I hated in college was the hand placement, his hands are always wide, the technique. But the dude's just so long and strong. Like that's just how he plays, and he gets away with it. So I'm like, okay, and the stuff that you can, if you want to elaborate on. Do you remember what Richard said? Is the stuff in practice when there's no pads on and you have that hand grip strength, when you engage, you stay engaged. And I thought that was the great point that he said. Those are the little things behind the scenes. Players knows players the best. You want to know if a guy can play? Ask the guys on the field, right?
Yeah, and he said that. He was like, you don't ever see a man who can grab somebody without pads on and hold them still.
Yeah.
That dude has mitts. And another thing I really left feeling, I thought it was awesome to hear him say how Patrick Paul wants to blow his career out of the water. Like he wants Teron Armstead to be an afterthought. And that was cool to hear that he's locked in, and it means that the game means that much to him. Also, I'll say, speaking of, which way players are leaning, I think Armstead's coming back.
I was going to ask you that. You got my next question.
I watched it like everyone else from afar, but it felt like he had too much left in the tank to me. And then the boys gave me kind of the rundown of their vibe, being with him behind the scenes. And I think Armstead's going to have at least one more go.
You know I love percentages, Bobby. Are we not doing that?
I could give you one. Let's Armstead back. I think 70% he's back.
Ooh. Wow. Okay. I kind of get that vibe too. Like I think let's let Paul get in camp. I don't think he wants to take Paul's reps, right? Like you can tell he likes Patrick. He wants him to get the reps. Like come back, 2 weeks before the season. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that. Is that the vibe you get? Like close to training camp, or like even during training camp?
Well, the cool thing about Armstead is whether he's around or not, he's probably not practicing much.
Yeah, he does.
So I think that he can make his decision a lot sooner than people think, but it's not really going to change his timeline. So like you're saying, like you might not see him start ramping up to 2 weeks before the season starts because he doesn't need to. He's had a billion reps. There's nothing you can throw at this dude anymore. All he really needs to focus on is his body. And that's why I think he's going to be back, because if you watch that show, he was sitting there like he's ready to play right now. And if he feels like that right now, 2 months removed from the season, he's only going to get better because his body's just going to feel better and better as the offseason goes on. So I don't feel like that's even a question. I feel like he'll be back. And I feel like he'll be back, but like you said, I think Patrick Paul will get most of the reps. There's no reason not to give them to him. And he's not much of a practicer anyways.
Yeah, he needs him. He needs him. But yeah, I hope Armstead comes back, because as we'll get on to later in the show, I'm a little concerned about that position. All right, everybody, we're here with Bobby from the Dive Bar Podcast. Everybody, you're watching anywhere else but YouTube, come over to YouTube, hit that little bell. Bobby knows, hit that little bell. It's rough in these streets. Hit the bell, like the video. It really helps us. Although it's really all the work we put in, it kind of helps. And then Bobby, you agree, right? It's
for sure.
Yeah. I hate asking so much, but as you get into it, you got to. We appreciate everybody in the chat: Cap, Steve, Justin, DSG, Sammy, Fins TV, everybody. We appreciate everybody. All right, so let's get into. We haven't talked since free agency happened, right? So let's get into kind of the approach they had. You kind of mentioned to me this before, that they weren't going to be big spenders. But you know what stands out to me is Greer's not a guy who's acting like his job's on the line here. I thought, maybe we'll see a desperate Chris Grier. No, man, he's played it. A lot of doubles, a lot of singles. James Daniels could be a triple. He's kind of playing safe. I'll bring up the chart here of all the signings. So what are your thoughts here overall on the approach they had this offseason?
Yeah, I think my words were last time I was on here, a humbling offseason coming for the Dolphins. So
yeah.
And that's exactly what it was. I will say though, and if you subscribe to me, you know this. I thought it was going to be a little different there. Right before free agency, they started getting really aggressive with a couple moves, and I thought they might be making way for some. And I'll tell you this, it wasn't for lack of trying. I know they were in on several defensive players, and they just missed out on them. So, I know they wanted a couple of edge rushers and a linebacker, and they just didn't work out. So they were trying to make a splash. It just didn't work out. And that happens, when you're, we're kind of at a crossroads right now as an organization. People don't really know where we're headed. And
yeah, we did. I'm not. Don't worry, you didn't miss much there. I'm not a big fan.
Hey, I like Madison for what he's going to have to be here. I don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought. Yeah, and then free agency started. I think they tried harder to make more splashes than it seems like, because this is what they ended up with. But I'm not as crazy. I'm not as down bad on the class as some people.
Yeah.
I think that honestly, now the problem with this class, and this is why people are upset, and I totally get this, is we have a lot of big holes and we need a lot of results. But this is the kind of class you really want to get used to. This is the kind of classes, if you're ran well and you draft well, these are beautiful free agency classes.
Boy, you look, those are two big ifs there. Draft well.
Oh, for sure. And that's why I understand the uproar right now. But this right here, if we go into the playoffs and win a playoff game and circle back and have the same exact free agency class with 7 to 8 draft picks again, man, you're not gonna hear me complaining. This is how you build a sustainable winner.
Yeah. I mean, what do they say? You pay A+ money for not even B players, C players. And so I agree, the approach, I would have liked them to attack the offensive line a little more like the Bears, man. Like, go all out.
Bears went crazy.
Yeah, but what are they? They're protecting their quarterback, right? And
yeah.
he's not. And we have maybe the most fragile or at least durable quarterback in the league. Whatever you think about him, we'll get into it when we break down the positions. But I like the James Daniels signing, right? Who are some of your favorites here? Guys you liked out of this group?
Yeah, I thought Tyrell Dawson was a no-brainer, and that looks good now because you got Willie Gay Jr. in the mix too.
Oh yeah.
When you think about Willie Gay Jr. might be the guy he used to be, but still, Duke Riley or Willie Gay Jr. That's an easy upgrade there.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson actually kind of intrigues me because, like, here's how I feel about backup quarterbacks, and I'm different in this sense. Honestly, if Tua's not going to be playing, I don't even care to be winning. And if I got to watch another guy, at least have it be a guy that can throw the ball 75 yards.
Yeah, so, I said all these guys are about the same. Get a young guy who you take a shot with. And I don't know if did you see Ben break that like 30 minutes before we were on? He's like, bro, they love Zach Wilson. I don't know if it's going to happen now. Then he might price himself out, but I know they love Zach Wilson. And he told me behind the scenes, dude, Peyton, at the end of the year in Denver, there was some noise about him, the progress he was making. So, like, would you rather have a Marcus Mariota? If Tua goes down, we're not in it yet anyways.
Right.
Let's see if Mike can develop this kid. I know that tree loves him, so I agree with you. He's one of the more intriguing ones for me. I'm okay with the list. Well, the only thing is the trenches need to be addressed more. And I think they set themselves up here where they got to hit a home run in the draft. Because they still have another draft. Here's how I put it, Bobby. They had the same needs, but they just lessened some of the need, right? They didn't, you know what I mean? Like, to me, you could still go any position. But, anyone you didn't like on this list?
Didn't like. I don't know if there's a didn't like. I just thought, Larry Baram, I thought that was kind of like pointless.
Yeah, Kendall Lamb, who just signed with the Eagles, right?
That one didn't really. James Daniel had me hyped, so I really didn't care about what happened next. That's about it. Yeah. I honestly, I want to say this too. I love the James Daniel signing. I think at $8 million coming off the Achilles, I think you got to steal price wise. If he get back into I think you got 4 real starters on the offensive line right now.
Yeah, they got a big hole though at that either left or right because Daniels could play. I know they primarily probably want to put him at right guard. No.
I think so, but we don't know. But I would say right guard, seeing that's where he's been at.
But he can play both spots.
I think they do draft another guy. A lot of people are saying like that we're out on adding anybody else because of what Liam's getting paid, and I'm like, I don't believe that for a second. It's also a 1-year deal. So also, I will say this:
they didn't.
This one didn't. I think it got some of the recognition it deserved, but as far as fit, man, Nick Westbrook is the perfect wide receiver 3. I mean, you couldn't have done better. And talk about the price on him. That was an incredible bargain and a perfect fit for what you're missing at wide receiver 3.
Yeah, size we needed, red zone target, and can block his ass off. Like, I think when we get to the positions here, he lessened my concern. I'll give you a spoiler with that position. I'll tell you another guy who I think is a value pick here, Bobby. Melifonwu, right?
Yeah.
At $4 million a year, 23, the guy was coming on. Big, 6'3", 210. Plays downhill in the box. And he's not bad in pass coverage, Bobby, honestly. Like, I think he's like your Jordan Brooks here. Like, if he stays healthy and all of a sudden we're like, okay, we got him for $4 million. Let's try to lock him up to a multi-year deal. The other problem is Ashton Davis, if he's your other starting safety. I know they liked him in 2020 a lot in the draft.
Yeah, they did. They wanted to put him with Gerald Alexander.
Yeah. So I thought they were going to take him where the Raekwon Davis pick was. But the one I don't like, man, is Matheson. This draft is loaded at running back with size. I wanted them to go in the middle rounds, 4 or 5, take one. I hope they still do. Because I don't even think Matheson is that much of a power back. To be honest, he has size, but he's not I don't consider him a big power guy. Ilya Meikenberg. Let's get into what Cap says here. Is there anybody left, right? I was going to ask you this, Cap. Good job. Anybody left worth restructuring anybody's contract cough, cough, Tua, which, hey, that says a lot that they haven't touched that contract.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you, not that they don't like him, they question his long-term durability, which who wouldn't? I don't think it bodes well for him for the future. But is there anybody out there left, like an Asante Samuel, Rasul Douglas? Who else is out there? Will Hernandez.
I like also Brendan Sheriff.
Yeah.
I think that would be a day, like, he's a starting guard. So like you sign him, you have a guard. Now still, I don't think that stops you from drafting a guard even then, because one more year, maybe you're going to have that same every offseason, like Armstead and Lamb. Are they retiring? Are they coming back? So like that wouldn't stop you from adding somebody. I really would have liked to see them somehow end up with Tevin Jenkins there at the end.
Oh,
that would have been cool. I like Justin Blackman, the safety that visited the Panthers today.
Yeah,
I really like his game. But what I do like about how they did, like you said, they softened the need a little bit on everywhere. So like,
it's a good way to put it.
The Afatu is like, you're in the box, kind of downhill, run support safety. Ashton Davis is kind of your rangy back end safety. So they gave themselves some versatility there and kind of filled some needs. But yeah, you could still absolutely go draft a safety at 13 and no one would ever be mad about that. Like, it would be understandable. So I like that they kind of just gave themselves a little higher baseline, maybe a higher floor on some of these positions, but they still need bona fide guys and starters at some of these positions.
What do you make of them not touching Tua's money? Exactly what I said, or did it surprise you, or you think maybe there's nothing to it? They don't need to?
I told everybody that's asked me that I wouldn't, and I don't think they will. But that's all based on what comes to the table. Like, they had a couple moves they were trying to make. Maybe if a couple of those guys fall into their laps, they get aggressive and go, well, hell, let's do it. But I think you're going to see like a Siller, Jordan Brooks restructure first.
Yeah, guys, I haven't had any problem with the guys that restructured. Anybody who doesn't know, you want to restructure guys that you feel pretty confident are going to be on your team for the next couple of years. And those guys, Brooks, Jackson, they signed Jackson to a pretty good deal. Was it last year or the year before? So I agree with you. And we'll get into after we go through the Dolphins concern-o-meter, we're going to do pretty soon here. We'll go to the draft. Where does this lead us now? Like at 13, we'll talk about kind of the options. Where do we think they're funneled in at, if anything? Remember, things could change. They could sign, Asante, surprise, and sign Asante Samuel Jr., and then we're not probably talking about corner at pick 13. Again, everybody, if you're watching anybody else, anywhere else but YouTube, come on over to YouTube, hit the little bell, and like the video and help support the channel. All right, you ready for the concern-o-meter?
Let's get it, man. Let's see what you came up with.
Oh, okay, guys. So this is a little thing I came up, the Dolphins concern-o-meter, right? You can see the it's on high because probably most of them are going to be high. All right, so do you want to start at the quarterback position, or do you want me to start?
It doesn't matter.
I'll start. Okay. Quarterback, I'm going to go high because anytime you have Tua, I think the concern has to be high because he doesn't stay healthy. And we mentioned, I think they improved with a young player who has upside in the system, former number 2 overall pick in Zach Wilson, who there's arm talent. I know for a fact that tree loves him. Backstage, Ben Albright, I hope he's not mad if I telling everybody this, but he told me they loved him. Everybody in that tree loves Zach, and they were worried that he was going to price himself out. Anybody watch that show, he mentioned that. And he also said that McDaniel is really excited about this kid in the building. Like, he thinks he can fix him. So all the guys are the same in free agency. What do you want? Mariota, Mac Jones? You said it earlier, Bobby. If Tua's out, our chances are slim to none anyways. Let's go with at least kind of developmental upside guy. And then, you know what? Round 5, 6, 7, you draft a third quarterback. And so my risk would be high. I like the depth behind Tua better than last year. But with Tua, the durability, you're always going to have a high concern level.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think high's got to be there just at this point with the money Tua makes and the injury concerns, and then you don't really have an answer after Tua. I do like Zach Wilson just based off of, like you said, if you're going to bring in a backup, at least give somebody that you can get in the building for a year, see what you have in him, and he might have a future still. Signing 33-year-olds and stuff is cool, but it doesn't give you any potential for a future. So yeah, I agree with you there. I think high is right.
High's right. All right. Let's chat. You can anybody in the chat, if you want to chime in the position, you can let us know what you guys think. Let's move on to the next running backs. Go ahead, Bobby. You can start with this one. Mine might surprise you.
I'd say it's at the top side of low.
Really?
I think that usage matters. McDaniel has to get in a rhythm and how he uses HN and Jalen Wright and how he mixes guys up, because that's the one issue I've seen. Last year, there was a lot of didn't really know how to like sprinkle Mostert in. Wright looked amazing early, and then we never seen him again the rest of the season. So I like the group, and it might not be done with the group, and I already like it a lot. I just think it comes down to the proper usage and the O-line, making holes.
Yeah, okay, so you might be surprised here what I have. I'm looking at my notes just to double check that I did this right, but I'm high here. I'm high. You ready? No, not that high. You might say a high after you hear my explanation.
Okay.
However, boy, did I set myself up for that. The Mostert loss, I think, even though, first of all, I don't know why Raheem Mostert didn't play more last year. That's number one. I'm not totally comfortable with Jalen Wright. We didn't see much last year when he did play. And A-Chain's usage level, I think it needs to go down more and more up at the wide receiver position. Matheson, I'm not a big fan of. I think he averaged like 3.2 yards per carry last year. Don't call him a power back. He's not. He's solid. I think he's 215, 220. Doesn't play like a power back. Everybody remembers him from the backup in Dalvin Cook days. This running back class is elite. And there's a lot of guys with size. Junkins from Ohio State. Look no further than down the street here in UM and Damian Martinez. I want one of those guys. And so I'm concerned that it takes him out of that group. Yeah, there's talent there with A-Chain, but if you try to make Devon A-Chain a 15, 20 carry a game back, he's not going to last the whole year. So my concern is high. What about you? Are you guys, chat, are you more with Bobby or me here? Low? You said very low, huh?
Yeah, I'm in the top. I could be at the top side of low, but yeah, it's low nonetheless.
Do you get my point, though? Well, should I go moderate? Bobby?
Hey, go with whatever you want, but that's the thing is the draft's still there, so they can easily leave the draft with Martinez. And how do you feel then?
We're down to low, brother. We're down to low. We're going low.
There you go.
How about this? I'm in the middle of the moderate to high, that little line there in between.
Okay.
All right, so running back's good. Let's move on to the next position. Wide receiver, very low for me. The NWI signing, we talked about it, killed all the needs. Size, red zone target, blocking, best third wide receiver, I think Hill and Water were going to have since they've been here together. And you still have the Washington kids. We didn't even see Taj Washington last year, and Malik played really well. I'm going to go very low here. This is one of my least concerns. And this is not a great wide receiver draft.
Yeah, I agree. Very low. Tyreek's not leaving. Waddle's already working his ass off again. The Nick Westbrook addition is awesome. Perfect fit. Also, you got to consider, Jonnu can be considered part of the receiver group. And you got Jonnu, I think, the hell was I about to say? Oh, and the HN even can be considered.
Yeah, great point.
So, dude, the wide receiver room is abundant and deep. So, you got so many options with the wide receiver room. And, dude, I like Malik Washington a lot, but I really like him knowing he's a wide receiver 4.
Yeah, and specialty. And he came on last year, man. I like what I saw from Taj that little bit we saw him in camp before he got hurt. So Cap is at low with us, and Justin, wide receiver, is moderate to high. So his worry is Tyreek not being Tyreek, but who knows? There was a lot. That was a weird year last year. A lot going on. The injury, so-called injury. Well, he had surgery, or did he have surgery? We don't even know.
He had surgery.
Yeah, we're basically saying low. Tyreek being Tyreek, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's more than that, dude. They got to get the running game going. They got to loosen up this shell. It's also they got to loosen up the shell stuff, the too high, and the running game fixes that. It's you know what I mean. And also, they also got to take more shots. There was stuff downfield there. Like, let's not act like teams just started playing too high. There was stuff there. You agree? Big year. You think Tyreek bounces back if he's on the roster?
Yeah, even if he doesn't go, for 2,000 yards, I think he's still better than most. Yeah, I'm in the favor that Tyreek bounces back.
Yeah. All right, so we're pretty confident here with the wide receiver group going into the draft. Tight end. All right, so I guess so here this one's interesting, right? I had to think about it. I'm gonna go moderate here. Moderate. I think obviously we have Jonnu. We signed Farrell Brown, who's a wide tight end, inline guy. We have Julian Hill. Really good tight end class. I would like to add another one. Like I had a last show on Monday. I had like a tier chart, and like tight end was in tier 3 of needs. It's not the biggest need, so I do have some concerns behind Jonnu. Even though Durham Smythe didn't have a great year, Durham was reliable. I don't know how I feel about Julian Hill. They like him in that building.
Yeah.
Again, Farrell Brown's a wide guy, inline guy. I would love to see them a guy who could do a little bit of everything. It's a good draft for that. So I'm going to go moderate.
Yeah, moderate I agree with. They have to get something worked out with Jonnu. I know they've been in talks. They're having discussions. So I'd like to see Jonnu extended, at least, have another year on the other, like at least a 1-year extension, just so I know that he's completely out of the picture after this year. And yeah, I agree, man. You come out of the draft and you got like Gunnar Helm at tight end.
Oh yeah.
And I feel a lot better.
Yeah.
So I think that they can still add a body to that room for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about draft here at the end, but like I think that 3rd or 4th round is where you get a tight end, like a Jackson Hawes or a Gunnar Helm, something like that. Everybody's talking about Mason Taylor. You'd have to take him at 48. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they'd go that route, to be quite honest. So we're both on moderate at the tight end. He has Farrell Brown. Farrell Brown signed a 1-year deal. What are your thoughts on Farrell Brown? I'm
fine with it. The thing about these inline guys is you don't really know the name, so people are just like, I don't even know who the hell that is. He must suck. But no, he's not a glory guy. He does all the nasty stuff. So I like Farrell Brown. I liked him a lot coming out of Oregon. The Patriots drafted him. I liked him.
Yep.
But I think right now you got Julian Hill versus Farrell Brown for your inline guy, and you got Jonnu Smith is obviously your receiving threat at tight end, but you have Tanner Connor basically practicing behind him, learning that spot in the offense.
Oh, Royal. Speaking of that, the UM Pro Day, I was watching it. Cam was slinging it around. Not surprising, but Royal looked good. But Xavier Rest, bro, that 4.7. Bobby, can you beat him? You think or no?
No, I don't think so.
But he that guy's quick. I'm not worried about his speed, man. He's a great player. His route running and short area quickness is elite. But the UM Pro Day. Did you see any of the numbers that came out?
Yeah, I think Restrepo, he's a chain mover, so he's not going to be a blow you away speed guy. I mean, Jarvis Landry ran a 4.77. We all know how we feel about Jarvis Landry.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to overreact.
So he's a dude, man. He's still going to go 2nd, 3rd round, just like Landry did. Don't sleep on Restrepo.
Another thing I will say is, one of the benefits of being friends with a guy that trains him and prepared him for his pro day, on the back end, anyways, he went to another camp to start his off-season training and wasn't liking his results. This is a little backstory, honestly. It's more than anything, it's just a little backstory. He started the offseason with another camp, preparing for the combine and his pro day, and he didn't like the results he was seeing. He was halfway through his program and hadn't improved at all. So he came back home to perform with Nick Hicks, where he had trained his whole life at. And they tried to get him right in time. They didn't run at the draft because they needed a little more time to try to get him right. And he was actually expected to run in the 4.6s today, the lower 4.6s. Said some of the mechanics were off. It just kind of was a bad performance on his part. But there's more in the tank. He was supposed to go in the 4.6s.
Don't sleep on him. Some team let him fall a little bit. They're gonna make a mistake. That dude's a chain mover. You know what I mean? And if whoever drafts Cam Ward, I'd be looking at him in the 2nd round to pair him up because that guy's so comfortable with Cam.
Yeah.
What's up a lot? Everybody in the chat, thanks, Cap, DSG. Nah, dude, Barrios, put on the tape. Barrios, you'll see the real deal. He's not a speed guy. Everybody, we almost got 100 people in here. Come hit that like and subscribe button and help support us in the channel here. And also make sure if you haven't subscribed to the Dive Bar, you're crazy if you haven't. I don't know what you've been doing. Go ahead and subscribe to those guys. All right, let's move on to the next position. Oh boy,
he went straight to guard.
Did you see my face change?
Look, very high.
I'm trying to
obviously.
I'm trying to move that little. Oh, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, very high. I mean, hey, look, I'll say this. This can change really quickly. I mean, it can go from very high to low. You get the third. I mean, even if you just get the third. Well, we're not talking draft, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we can talk. Yeah, talk.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you right now, everybody's bitching about the guard situation, but James Daniel is a bona fide starter in this league. You get to 13 and you grab Will Campbell. Like, no one's talking about guard anymore.
We're talking low.
Like, if you're bitching about guard, after that, you're just bitching. Like, so I'm still very high because
dude, move the meter.
I'm still very high because I know what might be in that fifth spot right now.
Yeah.
And you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? Everybody knows that. So it still has to be a concern. But I think they added in the draft, and I think they can easily fix that O-line.
Yeah. I'll tell you, smashed and broke smashed leg and broke finger. Thank you for. I hope it was worth it, man. I agree with you. Very high, obviously. James Daniels, obviously the injury concern, but you wouldn't be touching that guy at $8 million if you didn't get hurt last year. You're talking about a $13, $14 million guy. And I think he's a Pro Bowler if healthy in this system. Like we've been I know everybody's been wanting to get James Daniels here for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
It's that other position. There's nothing there. Right now, everybody's so freaked out about Liam Eichenberg. They're going to draft one. If it's not at 13, I'm pretty confident they'll do it in the second round, or I hope they will. Because 13 is a tough spot. We'll talk about where they funneled now in the draft. There's only a couple guys, and probably they're both tackles. I don't see a pure guard there. So the second round, you might have to do that. But look, there's still Will Hernandez out there. Sheriff, they can add to that group. Again, I agree. I would have liked them to attack that group more. So I'm very high concern as today with potentially going down. Unless they do something big, I don't know how it can go down under moderate, to be honest, though. Well, Bobby, who would you like at 13, or would you trade? We're going to get to that. We're going to get to the draft cap. Stay tuned after here. We'll get to this Dolphins concernometer. All right, so very high. My face changed when we went to guard, so let's move to the next position, tackle. You start here because you think Armstead's coming back. That puts it at low.
Yeah, I'd say moderate, just because you still need a backup second tackle. Armstead still has to make a decision. He hasn't. I mean, I could say it all day, but he still has to make that decision. I think having Armstead with Patrick Ball behind him is about as good as of a situation at left tackle you can ask for. Austin Jackson, people might not want to believe it, but he was a huge loss last year. So I feel great about getting him back. Now it's like, I guess they truly believe in Keon Smith being the other tackle. Hey,
they've had a lot of trade offers for Keon Smith. They said the same thing about Michael Dieter. And who's the other guy? The corner that you had on your show?
Ethan Bonner.
Yeah. We can those trade offers.
Yeah, we can only go off of what we hear. So that's all I'm going off of here. Yeah. But I guess they like Keon Smith there. I'd go moderate. I wouldn't mind seeing like a 5th round tackle added to the room.
I'll give you my guy when we get to the draft that I like.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at there.
Yeah, agree. I'm at in between moderate and high, because I'm like you said, I'm pretty confident Teron Armstead will be coming back. And like I said at the top of the show, Patrick Paul is the guy who I'm a little more higher on him than when he was drafted. I'm still not completely sold, but like there's some things there. He just with his length and strength. And I'm gonna put it this way: people who don't bench or never benched, guys with like barrel chest and short arms. But when you see a guy with that kind of length and bench 31 times 225, you know that dude's strong. Like you know that, Bobby, right? Like the guys that are like stocky and squatty and wide built and kind of short arms, those interior guys, it's easier to bench. When you get a guy with that kind of wingspan and benches 31 times on the. I remember Jake Long did 30 plus. Like those long guys like that are very hard to find. So
yeah, that's impressive.
A little more optimistic on Paul. I'm going to go in between moderate and high. I'm probably cheating here, but with Teron Armstead, I'm okay with it. And I agree with you. Austin Jackson, I know people don't realize how much of a loss that was. And then we signed the other kid from the Bears, right? Bolum, or he's a Kendall Lamb guy who just signed, by the way, with the Eagles, I think. To be honest with you guys, moderate, I agree. All right, Cap. Cap agrees with us, moderate. All right, so let's move on to the next position. Oh, boy. So, very high, right? There's just no bodies there. You got Benito Jones, you got Zach Sealer, and all I'm thinking about is that Will Smith gift with there's nobody in the room. Are they just waiting? Are they going to take my guy Kenneth Grant at 13, or are they just waiting for Campbell? I don't understand what they're doing here.
They definitely want Campbell back. They have been engaged with talks with him. They have an offer on the table to him. That's just kind of Campbell's another one of those vets where he doesn't sign in March. He doesn't sign in April. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like you're going to be waiting on that for a while. And I have heard, and Steve Ross might actually end up getting him a Michigan man this round because he does love Kenneth Grant. They love Kenneth Grant.
I love. I'm going to tell you right now. If they that's the kind of guy I've been asking them to take for years, up the middle. I want a Dexter Lawrence. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, Bobby. I like Grant more than Graham for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. Siller is very similar to Grant, with Graham in my opinion.
You watch them play together at Michigan.
Dude, beautiful combination.
Yeah, and Ben Albright told me not to name drop again. He said when he was at the combine, a scout told him. I told him that, and scout said, "That's funny you say that." A personnel guy told me he actually likes Grant for them more than Graham, and I agree. Like that would put this meet low, very low. I'm a huge fan. At 13, or is that a trade back?
If they took him at 13, you will not hear me complain.
Same.
Now, if you trade back to 16, 18, you get Kenneth Grant and add a second or a third.
Sign me up, bro.
They might have to get Greer a statue.
Okay, slow down. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing the Greer's cooking stuff every time he makes one move.
Hey, I'm fucking with you, man.
I know. You know what's funny about Greer cooks? He gets a blank checkbook and trade any draft pick you want. Of course, it's you and I can do those deals, man. But yeah, I agree. Defensive tackle is a concern. After the draft, I think we'll see this be a lot less of a concern. I think this is a heck of a defensive tackle draft, by the way. Usually there's like 2 or 3 guys. There's like 6 or 7. Like I keep going back to that name that the Steelers took right before us a couple years ago, the defensive tackle. I don't remember his name. But I always go to him. There's look him up. There's like 6 or 7 of those guys, and usually there's like 1 or 2. I forget his name. But anyways, yeah, this is a deep defensive tackle draft. But as of today, I think we both agree very high, no?
Yeah.
Oh, Benton. There you go. My boy, my brother Clown Prince, 21. Yeah, Benton. Kenyon Benton. There's like 7 Kenyon Bentons in this draft. All right, next position here. Edge rusher. Interesting, huh?
That's interesting. Yeah, these guys got to get back on the field. We got the players. But there's a reason they were in the mix with several edge rushers this offseason.
Greer's the kind of cook who forget. Oh, Bobby loves Chris Greer, so don't get on him on that.
Yeah, Anyways,
yeah.
Anyways,
what were you saying?
I think that it's low to moderate. I mean, all I need to see is the guys on the field again, healthy, looking somewhat like themselves, and I'm good with that room. And I think they still want to add to it. I mean, I don't know what it is. McDaniel has told us before. He fucking loves edge rushers. Yeah. And man, they've shown it. They were in the mix with a couple of the Bosa. Big guys. Yeah, Bosa, and I heard they had contact and really tried to sign Azeez Ojulari.
I was okay with that. I like that. And he didn't get paid that. What did he get? $4 million?
I think he chose the situation, obviously.
You're not going to – where do you go again?
Eagles. Yeah, you wasn't going to get him for 1.4 in Miami.
Yeah, but even he must have really wanted to go there. Like maybe it wasn't an option. They probably tried to. I would have liked them to get Ojulari. That's a great move. A guy in that second contract. Yeah, they're after this position maybe more than the fans think.
Something to remember with Weaver is when he was in Baltimore, he had a bunch of edge guys and he just shuffled them up all over the O-line and kept them fresh and said, try to stay in front of us.
Yeah, that's what I heard. The transition from Fangio to Weaver, the front seven, they want to fix. Like, maybe that's why we don't see the corner position. They believe, like you said, just keep overpowering people, bringing guys in the field on that edge position. And you mentioned the injuries to Chubb and Phillips. Like, Phillips is a fighter. He keeps coming back. But, man, how many lower body injuries can you have, those soft tissue stuff for it affects you? And we hadn't seen Chubb all last year. So I'd put it at moderate. Don't be this is a sleeper position at 13. Like, don't be surprised. I got a name for you when we get to the draft stuff, but I'm telling you, this position they want to fill. Like you said, they went after Ojulari, they went after Bosa. That was for a reason. So I'm going to go moderate here. Okay, linebacker. I'm going to go low. You got Willie Gay Jr., you got Dotson, you got Brooks. Low for me.
Yeah, I'd say low. You've seen how Brooks and Dotson can play together already, so that gives you some comfort, if nothing else. I think there was a lot of question marks with Dotson when we picked him up. He didn't really play well for Seattle like he did in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But he came here, and it really seemed to be a great fit. And him and Jordan Brooks, I mean, that's another awesome thing about adding like Kenny Grant, because you put Grant and Siller in front of Dotson and Brooks, and all of a sudden Dotson and Brooks are just eating stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
I think the defensive tackle addition we obviously need it, but it's huge for that linebacker room as well.
Yeah, I had a dream for that with Grant, but kind of the Willie Gay Jr. signing kind of affected that. I was going back to the Tim Bowen, Zach Thomas days. Kenneth Grant up the middle, Carson Schlesinger at linebacker in round 2. That dude is instinctive, and come on, the flowy blonde locks, it all fits, man. Miami, but no kidding aside, that was kind of my dream there scenario. I know nobody was talking about linebacker, but Jahad Campbell fans, you can forget about that. They're not going there at 13. Even though he's a heck
Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, I know. I was telling people, look, you can make an argument to me he's the best player on the board at 13. Depending on what happens.
I was about to say, you can say it's off the table, but if we trade down, I don't think it's off the table. Yeah. I don't think it's off the table.
I know they like Barron, bro, a lot.
Once again, it's another one of those things. I understand it's not the biggest need. And when we get to the draft, I'll give you there's a group of players that aren't our biggest need that I will bitch for 2 seconds and move on because I love them that much. And Jahad Campbell's in there.
Yeah. For me too. All right, so low for me and low for you, right? Safety. This is one of the ones we talked about softening the need. This is one of the softening the need, even though there's still a need. I'm gonna go still high. I told you I like Melifonwu, but I don't know about the other starter. I like the athleticism of Ashton Davis, and I know they liked him coming out. I liked him coming out. He was a 4.3 guy, I think, coming out of Cal.
He's a track star.
He was a part-time starter. He's one of these guys that maybe Weaver can squeeze more out of. Honestly, I did like what I saw of McMorris. I'll give you a little hint on the draft. If they're going to go safety, based on what the roster looks like, it'd be Malachi Starks, I think, not Emon Worry. But yeah, I would say I'm moderate high. How about that?
Yeah, I would just say high because they still need to they need the final piece of that. I think Starks makes a lot of sense. I know when the draft process all started, we keep going to the draft, but it's just so easy right now. It's relevant. It's relevant.
Yeah.
When the draft process first started, I was like, I'm convinced Starks is going to be the pick. Now I've changed. I went back and forth a lot, but my very first vibe from what the Dolphins are doing and what they love, man, Starks is just a Greer pick, man.
Oh, he is a
4-year safety, just a veteran all the way, a brain. You put him in the back end, and now you have your captain of the secondary. It's that kind of pick, and that's exactly what they're missing.
Hey, shout out to Kadeem Simmons from the Go Time podcast. Also, I had Kadeem on last week. Check out his channel. Yeah, dude, if I was going to tell you who's a Greer pick, it is, without a doubt. You know, if I put some true serum into Chris Greer right now, who do you want? He'll probably tell you it's Malachi Starks. And all this stuff that he was dropping, you know, I'm not buying all that. Once the coaches now start putting on the tape again, they realize what kind of dude this is. And we're doing the safeties, me and Jason Sarney, this Thursday on the on season. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. We're doing the safeties and the linebackers this week. And as I got into the safety group, I will say this: I like it more than I thought. I'll tell you a guy who I really like, who kind of in that second, third, middle rounds is Bowman Jr. out of Oklahoma. If that dude was 6 foot, 205, you're talking round one. He's a piece of diamond out there. Yeah, Will Johnson. Yeah, he is a dude. Michigan. He might.
Will Johnson is a guy to watch. That's the not just for the Dolphins in general for this draft. Will Johnson is that, you know, there's always that one guy that like just changes the trajectory of the first round. Will Johnson's that guy for me. Like, I think that's going to be the name. Like, until he's off the board, it's like everything's on hold. Hold on. With like anything's possible.
Yeah. So safety, you say high, I say moderate high. We still have concerns there. All right. Last one, but not least, cornerback. Again, we both want to jump on this arrow and move it all the way to very high. Who's starting right now for you next to Ramsey?
Cam Smith.
Oh boy.
I'm not saying it's a great. I'm not saying like we don't have reason to think that's an awesome thing, but I'm just saying
like he's a Storm Duck not right. Storm Duck might be ahead of him.
That's true. Storm Duck. I mean, dude, the duck that keeps on swimming. Yeah. So right now you'd have Ramsey, Cam Smith, Ethan Bonner, and Storm Duck. Yeah, they need to add a cornerback.
Yeah, and then again, I like Asante Samuel in free agency. He's a guy I would restructure somebody, like you said, Steeler. I would move something to get him. He's still an ascending player. You know, I don't know. We'll talk about this when the draft comes, but it's just like I'm in a pickle here because there's like, oh, we're going to take a DT, but are they really going to leave corner go? You know, it's like we'll talk about it in a second, but obviously the concern's very high on corner. I mean, I'm sure everybody in the chat would agree. We need somebody, but I'll say this again: they're more Fangio was more focused in the secondary. Weaver's defense is more the focus on the front seven in the personnel department. I know that. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's one of the things for the draft we'll talk about, and I hope you guys liked the Dolphins concernometer. Bobby, I hope you liked it. Chat, we'll bring this back after the draft. Bobby, we'll bring it back next time you're on post draft. And we'll see if the needle moves, because certainly this free agency didn't move the needle. So let's get into now where it takes us. We're a month away from the draft, all right? So I said, where are we – usually we say we get an idea what's going to happen in the draft after free agency. And, again, there's time left here to kind of sign somebody. Give me 3 guys you think that are a leader in the clubhouse for this team right now on pick 13. Or 3 positions, however you want to do it.
I think. I think that if you had to,
it's tough though.
Look, dream world, right? Or like realistic.
Let's say, okay, we'll do this. What you would do, what the Dolphins would do, or do.
Okay, I'll do it like this. I'll give you I'll give you best case scenario if this guy's okay. Yeah. If this guy falls, I think 13, Will Johnson is like, he shouldn't have been here, but he is. And he's a Michigan guy. Yeah. Stephen Ross is like, yes, let's do it. Then I think you got Malachi Starks, who is just a Greer guy that he's going to be like, I told y'all, and he's here. Will Johnson's gone. Come on. That's our guy. And then you have, I think, Kenneth Grant, who is just a no-brainer to fix the D-line, improve the trenches. And he's also a Michigan guy. So, yeah, I think if you get Malachi Starks, Kenneth Grant, or Will Johnson, I think you did great.
Yeah, here's how I see 13 is kind of a sweet spot for the Dolphins, right?
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a good player there. I think offensive line, if there's no chance Mbu gets there, right? No chance. Will Campbell, there's an outside chance. I think that's where it could get interesting, right? I'll tell you the guy who I think everybody talks about, like Mason Graham, for example. 4 or 5. I think he's closer to 10, and I'll tell you why. Teams go with guys. He doesn't drip like these athletic traits. He's not this sexy guy. Teams will fall in love with a Jalon Walker or even a Kenneth Grant. Like they're dreaming big. He's kind of like a Christian Wilkins, right? And Christian Wilkins made it. I think we took him at 13. I think he's somebody who could drop more than. I don't know if he gets to pick 13, but like if pick 11, he's on the board. It wouldn't surprise me. But I still would go Grant. I would go Grant over Graham because of the fit. And I just like that physicality. Kind of, they got to get bigger and more violent up front, Bobby. We got to change this thing. You know, I like Graham, but he's a little too similar to Christian Wilkins for me. And I think you hit it on the head. The corners. Will Johnson's, he's on the board. Shut down one side of the field. Big, long corner. You run it. You get on a rocket ship. You run that card. Now, Jahadi Barron's the other one. I know they like this type of player. Like he's more the Swiss Army knife. And then the safety is Starks. So I think we're pretty much saying it's going to be a defensive pick, right? Like if we had to guess today, corner, safety, defensive tackle.
I think so. And I think the scary part about corner is if you don't get corner at 13, what's up, X Factor? That's my homie right there, man. That's a Louisiana boy.
Shout out to X Factor.
Yeah, big supporter of the dial bar, baby. I appreciate you, man, coming over. So I think the scary part about corner is, especially if you're looking for a starting corner, like corner is not like defensive tackle where like you might be able to find a guy in the 3rd or 4th round who can give you some real good reps. Corner, a guy has to be about his shit. So like if you don't get a corner at 13 or 48, we probably missed out on corner. Yeah. In my opinion, starting corner, like a guy that I truly believe can start day one. And that is risky, but like, man, I love the idea of Kenneth Grant. I love the idea of a Malachi Starks. So like, it's going to be tough. They're not going to be able to get every need. That's the thing. We have a lot of picks. They might be able to add every need like in general, but I don't know if they add we need a starter at like 5 spots.
Yeah. And the thing is, you don't want to veer too away from BPA. If you go away from best player available, that's how you get in trouble. We did look at Austin Jackson, even though he's developed into like a solid average starting tackle. Yeah. Like we forced that pick because we went with we needed a tackle. So like you don't want to veer too far away from it. But like I always said, I think the options are more limited now than they were than I originally thought. And I do think though this draft lines up well for the Dolphins where they're picking.
Yeah.
If things fall apart, like if it's Malachi Starks is the only one left and trade down like Barron or Starks, I'm trading down. Yeah. Like of a Will Johnson, the Will Campbell, those guys are on the board. I don't think I would move down, but there's a scenario where it's like Barron, Starks, Kenneth Grant. Like I'll move down to 18 or 19, right? Like I'll consider that.
Yeah.
And pick because remember they don't have a pick between 48 and 98.
That's a good spot.
That's the meat of the draft.
Yeah.
This draft. So I almost would prefer that, but again, it depends who's on the board. Who you mentioned some of the guys you like you're banging the table guys. Like one for me, Savanea from Arizona.
Yeah, that's one of mine.
Oh, dude. I love those Samoan thick guys. They're just thick everywhere.
Nasty guard. I like them boys that are just maulers in the guard.
And you move him, he's a tackle. You move him at guard. My concerns I have with him, and he ran sub 5, 4.97. He's almost as fast as Restrepo. You know what I mean? So like, I got to stop doing that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but he's one of my favorites. Like you going on 28, I take him. Like, and you pick up a pick in the late 30s or 40s. I'm okay with that with this defensive tackle. Who are some of the guys you banged the table for here that you like? Your kind of favorites, your man crush.
Man crushes.
Schwarzenegger's mine. I got that's one of mine.
Will Campbell, that was my first ever wish for the Dolphins. Hey, I'm just telling you, this is mine. This is mine.
Hey, we all like some like brunettes, some like blondes. You know what I mean?
It could be the LSU thing. I just like the way the kid talks too. He sounds like an offensive lineman. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like, and dude, he's agile. Him in the outside zone scheme would be money.
Oh,
like, so
I like him at tackle though. I like him at tackle. I know people say guard. I don't. When we did the offensive line show, I went to the film. Like there's a lot of these guys in this draft that are tackle guard conversions. He's one. I know the arm length's an issue. I like him more at tackle. Shout out to the Ricky poster in the back.
Yeah, Clown Prince. I had that. I had this poster when I was like 12. So like I know what he's talking about. This thing was like the shit back then. Yeah. So when we created this podcast, I was like, what do I want behind me? And I was like, dude, I gotta bring the Gladiator Ricky Williams poster back, dude. It's sick.
Yeah, that's my actual brother, Cloud Prince.
Really?
Yeah, he's a big.
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm trying to get him on the show, make an appearance. I'll get him on once. But yeah, we were huge Ricky fans. So we were talking about Will Campbell, the SEC competition.
Yeah, so I like Will Campbell. I mean, dude, we could talk about Abdul Carter, but that's pointless for us.
Oh yeah, like Travis Hunter, we're not touching those guys.
Like that's too easy as well. So Will Campbell, Kenneth Grant, man, I love Will Johnson. I think people are getting a little carried away with all the smoke, and I think at the end of the day, we might realize that was all smoke. He might go at number 8, and we go, yeah, of course. And Jahad Campbell, dude, Campbell is a dog that. Well, before we did what we did in free agency, that was like
I still do it, man. I still do it.
If we trade down, I'm putting him right back on the board.
Best player available. You can sell me on
another. Speaking of trade downs, if we trade down, this is another guy that if we're doing the trade down method, there's a few guys that I now love, and Tyler Booker is one of them.
Yeah, Tyler Booker. It's interesting because a lot of people are going to talk about he's more of a phone booth guard, right? But he can. The guy played he played at Alabama. He can figure it out in this offense. Like I think he's plenty athletic enough. I know. I'm a big fan of this whole theory that we need to improve the physicality and demeanor on this team more than anything. Like you're gonna tell me Tyler Booker can't block in this offense? I'm not buying that.
Like Armstead said about James Daniels, he's a grown man who can move grown men, and that's hard to find. That's I love
simple. That line, brother. I got goosebumps. I'm ready to go. 13, let's put him in.
Maybe not 13, but yeah.
I was going like hot take. I would do 7A at 13, like in the beginning of the process. I just love him, dude. You just know when you know a guy's gonna be like go to Philadelphia and become a Pro Bowler. Like it just bothers you, and he's one of those guys. I'll tell you a guy like at corner. I don't know if you know Azrae Thomas, the Florida State kid.
Yeah,
dude, he's a dog. Like you talked about, if at 48 you don't address. Like if you do Kenneth Grant and then Azrae Thomas, okay, I can live with that. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can live with that. I'm trying to. Other guys I like are more in the middle round. Like I'm going through right now the safeties and the linebackers. Yeah, Campbell is just. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
I think safety is pretty deep, but like bona fide starting dudes is kind of like that's where do you draw the line there? Because I like a lot of the safeties, especially for the first 2 rounds, and I'd be thrilled with them. But like, it's kind of like I like a lot of the names later on, but do I like really want them starting?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like as I'm going through it now for Thursday's show. There's like 6 or 7 names I really like, right?
Yeah,
and there's a different flavor, but I do like those 6 or 7 guys more than I thought I would. Like I guess 2 through 7, I like them more than I thought. If you're gonna get one, it's probably going to be no later than pick 98, maybe that pick in the 4th round. If I don't know if the Oklahoma kid Bowman Jr., who I love, will make it that far. But like, the safety group is one. But yeah, this group is really running back, tight end is where the draft's stacked at. Defensive tackle.
Yeah, defensive tackle.
The guard group is not good, but when you add the tackle conversions that go into guard, then the list gets longer. The lineup gets lengthened. So I agree with you. Who's your leader in the clubhouse today? If I said, Bobby, I put $100 on the table, the pick at 13 is?
Probably Kenneth Grant.
Yeah, I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't get it out of my head that they want to improve the front 7. I can't get that comment out of my head. So everybody's saying corner. I'm not too sure, man. Like I go Grant or Starks. Like those are – because Starks is just too much of a Greer guy, right? It's too obvious. All right, everybody, we got over 110 people. Please, guys, smash that like and hit that little bell. It takes a second. I know, don't break your finger doing it too many times and support the channel. I guess that's it, Bobby. I mean, I think we covered everything. I'll have you on again some point here post draft. I know you going offshore tomorrow. Safe travels. But before we go, we're like Stewart. Yeah, Shamar Stewart. That's a sleeper. That edge position.
Hey, that guy, yeah.
Good job.
He got some versatility there.
Yeah. He's a big boy, and he's a good run defender. I'm glad you brought that up. But again,
that guy fits that the Emmanuel Ogba kind of like five technique.
Yeah. He's a freak too.
He is.
All right,
South Florida kid too.
So again, safe travels. Let everybody know. Again, repeat what you got going on and where they can find and subscribe to the most trending Dolphins YouTube show besides us, right?
Absolutely.
Let them know.
Yeah, so the Dot Bar Podcast, we're on YouTube, Twitter. If you want to come over to that's Ghost right there.
Ghost? Where's Ghost?
That's him, KN.
Hey, Ghost, I'm waiting for you to come on. I know Ghost, back in the audio days, I was going to have Ghost on. Things got out of hand, and Ghost is like, I'm not coming on now. Like, Ghost, open invitation. Next time you come on, Bobby, you bring Ghost.
Dude, we can hardly get Ghost on our show. So
okay, I don't know about that.
He's expensive, man. He's expensive. But
I was doing
he's expensive, I'll tell you that, but we keep him on the staff. He's worth it. But yeah, them boys, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to make tomorrow's show, but them boys are gonna beat some ass tomorrow night. They're gonna dominate. Cater Kohu's coming on the show. We're gonna talk about his free agency process and kind of like how that's going. I know the Dolphins put a right to first refusal on him.
Yeah.
His price went up.
You're not coming on them. Yeah.
But yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Dolphins put a right to first refusal on Cater. So we're gonna have him on, talk to him about the process. If he's getting any outside interest, kind of like where he's at in that process, if he's close to coming back to the Dolphins, like whatever that is, and just kind of talk about his career altogether and learn about the human side a little more. And he's got a crazy story. He came from Africa at 9 years old. He didn't play football till like 7th grade. So he's got a cool story.
Yeah, I'm looking. I love him inside Nico. That's going to be a fun show. What time is that show again?
7 Eastern.
Okay, 70. Make sure you guys check out that show, and then they got more guests coming up. Again, we're back on Wednesday. We got an interview with Darius Maxwell, speedy electric kick returner, wide receiver on the on-season with Sarney. Then Thursday, we're back with our regular show, breaking down the safety and the linebacker groups, the safety group, especially a position of need for the Dolphins. So make sure you join us Thursday, 8 p.m. over here on the on-season. All right, thank you, Hodge. Love the content. I don't know if that's me or Bobby's show, but hopefully you like both of us. And we will pull up. Definitely everybody pull up and check that out tomorrow. So, guys, as always, stay Fins faithful, brother. We